Vicky Kendrick from Pinehurst Floral and Greenhouse joins us now.
That's right. We are going to talk about how to put your garden to sleep before the cold weather hits.
Welcome, Vicky. So for those of us, okay, I think there's probably two categories of us. Those of us who dabble in gardening and those of us who are pretty hardcore into gardening.
Yeah.
I have two perfect examples.
Okay.
Myself and my mother. Mine is the garden that I bought in the pots already that are dead right now.
Oh.
And then there's my mom who has the beautiful garden with the wood chips
all
in the
lush
oh, it's beautiful.
Well, see, when you were little, you didn't work in her garden, did you? You were too busy doing other things.
Not.
And now that you've grown up, she could probably use your help right now.
I should have been weeding your garden.
You're very normal, and but you're starting to get back in it. You have your home now. You can just dabble in it. And we garden a little different than we used to. We don't have these great big plots. Instead, we're gardening in containers.
Right.
We're gardening in amongst our flowers and
you drive by some
shrubs.
houses and they have these giant pots where they'll maybe have one or two tomato plants,
Yes.
and another pot over here that has some other plants.
Yes.
And so
it all works together, and it's great.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things we need to do right now. Right now we should have the tomatoes, they're tomatoing, and the strawberries are strawberrying, and the zucchini are zucchiniing.
Yeah, and mine are growing so fast. This heat is really zucchini.
It seems like it's really, accelerating it.
You know, and you never know when our last frost is going to be. The last two falls have been so late, and they've been nice for us, but not for plants because they need to get ready for winter, and they haven't had a chance.
And so, like you mentioned, with the heats that we have right now, we know fall is coming. Are we going to see a drastic drop? Like one day we'll be in the 90s, one day we'll be in the 60s?
Oh, definitely.
And how do plants handle that?
Yeah, how do they?
You know what? They handle it really well. Better than we do.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know,
we can complain about it.
You can. And things don't freeze in the fall like they do in the spring. In the spring, they're real tender, and you have the temperatures dip a little bit, and they are gone. But in the fall, they're tougher, and they're used to it. There's a few things you can do to extend your season. We have frost blankets that you can put out over tomatoes if it's going to get really cold.
Okay.
Sure.
But your root crops, that will not freeze. You know, if your cooler things like lettuces that you can plant now for fall, they won't freeze. But it's usually your cucumbers and squash are their most tender. But if you just throw a frost cloth over them, a sheet or something like that.
So this kind of acts as like what, a thermal blanket over them?
Thermal blanket to keep them. And the soil is so warm, see, in the fall, that radiates during the night also.
Now for the tomatoes, I've noticed people put certain things around their tomato plants. Is that a thermal protectant? Is that what those little things are? Or
maybe in the spring, did you see that?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
And that works really good to extend your
do you have to individually wrap each tomato? That could be a little time consuming.
Definitely. You know, and now as you start getting ready for fall, watch for your plants as they become unproductive or look bad. Go ahead and get those out of there and get rid of them. Look for things that have bugs on them or diseases, and you don't want to compost those. You want to dispose of them because you don't want to reintroduce that to the garden. Bugs and diseases overwinter on the garden on the foliage of the plants. So you want to clean your garden out. If your produce is good or your plants, you can compost them.
And so start with the above the ground stuff.
Start with the above the ground. Fall is so important in gardening, and we kind of are tired of it, and we forget about it.
Because we come out in spring, we're gung-ho, ready to go.
And the most important thing about your garden is you have to start with really good soil. That's why you garden in plants, is because you haven't built your soil up to where it's good yet. And we do that by adding organic matter. So as the leaves fall, it's really easy. Let the leaves fall on your grass. Go over them and spread them out. Go over them with a mulching mower, but don't pick them up. And then maybe mow them a couple times, and then go over and bag them. Spread that over your garden. And rototill that in the fall.
Nice.
Great.
And it works great. Just make sure you haven't used a weed killer on your grass. But watch for that, and that helps it so much. Be ready for spring. You know, and some people have a tendency to want to use manures. You have to be really careful about those you are kind of hot, you don't
Okay.
know what they do, put that on in the fall.
In the fall.
In the fall. If you want to do manure,
Okay.
do it in the fall and rototille
All right,
it in.
Vicky, good advice. If
Yeah,
you have any
absolutely.
questions, you can contact Vicky at Pinehurst Floral and Greenhouse. Thank you so much for
Yes,
joining us
thank
today.
you.
Looking forward to a fun fall.